All right, here we are. We're back at it again, and this time we're gonna look a bit about the game itself, the structure and everything. And I am so freaking ready for this. I love the Ascension we checked out last video, where you get to basically choose the way you want to go instead of being forced into this or the same direction every time you play the game. I think the possibility of a choice is a lot better, and it gives for more replayability because you don't have to actually do the same exact thing over and over and over. You can kind of like mix and match as you feel like it. So that made for really, really, I think that's a good idea. I think it's a really smart choice. But yeah, nonetheless, I think we should get into it. Leave a like, a comment, and subscribe, all that good jazz, and let's check it out.
So far, we've only been showing you footage from the campaign, but some people would argue that the endgame is where the game truly begins. Something that happens almost every time a new action RPG launches is people saying, there isn't enough endgame content. Well, we want to make sure that in PoE 2 people don't feel that way, and we actually only changed our development priority for this recently. The first 3 acts of PoE 2 already take around 25 hours to complete if you're a new player. This is already a pretty significant campaign. On the other hand, people spend hundreds of hours in endgame.
So like 25 hours from 1 to 3, is it going to be another 25 hours from 4 to 6 then? And then you're like, that's like 50 hours for a new player. I wonder how fast Ben is going to do that. If it's 50 hours for a new player, he'll probably do it in like 47 minutes or something like that. No, I'm kidding. I cannot wait to see how this performs. But that was like one of the major issues when we talk about um, Diablo 3 and 4. It's the absolute lack of in game content. For instance, with Diablo 3, there's only really one type of end-game content, which is Rift, and it's basically 5 different bosses, and it becomes really tedious really fast. And they're on season 30, 3600 or some shit in Diablo 3, and it's still the same exact thing. It's just that becomes really boring really, 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 really quickly. And I think that the fact that there's multiple different things to do in the end game here is gonna make for a lot better experience at launch. And we gotta think about it like this: there's seasons to come, which is gonna provide even more end game. So if this is where we're starting, if you think about PoE 1, it started basically with the Act 1 to 3, right? Like that was basically Act 3 was like the end game, and then they added some more acts, and then they added some more acts, and they added some more acts, and you had Act 10 all of a sudden. And then they started adding the Atlas and all the end game stuff, you know what I mean? Like the pinnacle bosses and stuff like that. So if we compare this to PoE 1, you're basically getting like the first 10 seasons of PoE, maybe more, all in one game, all at the same time on launch day. So I think that's a very smart choice on their part to not be scarce with the content and to not try and claim that certain things are like a season or maybe even like an expansion, and it's in reality something that should have been within the game from the very get-go. So but that's the like that's one of the issues Diablo has is they claim it's a new season and they rework all the items. Well, the items should have been good from the beginning. It shouldn't have been such a big problem that we make a season where we just basically are doing a improvement or quality of improvement in terms of certain items and stuff like that, and that's the season. There's no settlers, right? Like there's no town you're building, there's no like anything else than that. It's just basically fixing something that's broken within the game or is bad, and calling that a season is disgusting. I don't agree with that at all. If you want to put out something called a season or um, like a ladder or whatever, you gotta put some features in there that are specific to this ladder or season. Otherwise, it's just a waste, man, to be honest.
Each league. We realized that finishing the rest of the campaign for early access was actually a bad idea. Instead of having Acts 4 to 6 in early access, we could concentrate on endgame and make that great. For new players, a 25-hour campaign is already a huge game with lots of content. But for existing action RPG players, what you mostly care about is all the endgame challenges to overcome.
Right.
So several months ago, we switched the entire development team's focus
As a good player, right? It's the end game and the chase items that really calls to me, right? It's end game chase items and being able to help people. That's like my three main sources of enjoyment when it comes to stuff like this.
to making endgame content. At the start of early access, there will be 50 bosses and around 400 monster types. But the great thing is that the rest of the game is like 80% there. We'll be adding content to roughly double the size of the game during...
Bro, he's like a walking lava fountain.
Early access and into release. Now, in order to make the endgame happen at the same character level as what it would be after we added the rest of the acts, we've added a second difficulty level called Cruel, where you repeat the campaign with all the monsters and bosses leveled up.
Oh,
and of course, new rewards.
Nice. That's actually even smarter now that I'm thinking about it, because adding Act 1 to 3 and then basically doing the Diablo 3 or Diablo 2 idea where you have normal, nightmare, and hell difficulty, but it's still just Act 1 to 5 normal, Act 1 to 5 nightmare, and then Act 1 to 5 in hell. I like the idea of having the first 3 acts repeated, so once the full game releases, there is instant new content to be had, new bosses to be learned, new not skills, but abilities to learn to dodge and stuff from the bosses you're gonna fight. So I think that's a smart choice to not that they couldn't give out everything, but I don't think that would be a wise choice, because then come release date, what are we releasing then, right? Like, I think this is a really good choice.
You can kind of think of it as like a new game plus. It's also a lot faster to get through the content the second time as your clear speed increases.
Right.
That will take you to around level 65, where the end game begins. Once we add the remaining 3 acts, we'll be removing Cruel difficulty.
Right.
So you'll progress straight from the end of Act 6 to end game.
Correct.
But what is the end game? To explain that, I'll hand over to Mark. He can tell you all about it.
Let's get it,
I'm
Mark.
Roberts, game director on Path of Exile 2. Well, one thing that Path of Exile is known for is having a lot of distinct endgame content to choose between. Each endgame...
I'm not gonna lie, Mark looks a little bit tired here. I think he's been working 24 hours a day for the past fucking 2 years or something. My man's has been going extra hard to get this stuff out, man.
Mechanic needs to have its own progression system, areas, bosses, rewards, and player power that can only be gained from that content. We are going to be adding a lot more over time, but for Path of Exile 2 we decided to start with 7 distinct systems you can progress through.
This is the Atlas, and it serves as the core of the endgame for Path of Exile 2. It's infinite and expands in all directions. Now, we are not going to spoil the plot too much here, but corruption from the beast has blighted the land, and your objective is to help fight it. In the center of the Atlas you will find the Ziggurat, a temple in which the Vaal research the fundamentals of space and time. Here, we can open portals to nearby locations and begin cleansing corruption and finding resources. In order to power the portal device, we will need waystones. Each waystone has a tier which will determine the level of the monsters that you will face. To go to an area, simply click one that is adjacent to an area that you have already completed. Insert the waystone and click Traverse. Portals will open, allowing you and your party to travel to the area you have selected.
Hell yeah.
All the areas in the endgame feel distinct from the locations in the campaign.
Oh my god, is that Flicker Strike?
randomization up to 11.
I think it
The
is.
monster packs you will face in each map are totally random, and the combination of them can lead to some very interesting combat situations. There are over 400 monster types in early access, and they have a lot of varied and interesting abilities. Depending on which combinations you face, you might find some serious challenges. In order to cleanse the corruption from the area, you will need to defeat all the powerful rare and unique enemies in it. Once you have done that, the area will be marked as completed, and you will be able to
That
travel
demon
past it to
form
progress
looks
deeper into the
fucking
world.
crazy.
If you die, then the map can no longer be run, and you will have to find another way around to get to the areas behind it.
Failed. Control middle click to complete. Even the sparse vegetation does not linger here long. Okay. Okay, so you can actually fail them. You can basically block yourself off from being able to access an area if you fail too much. That's crazy. I like
There
it
are
though,
also
because
all kinds-
if you don't have some kind of if you don't have some kind of punishment for failing stuff, it's like losing XP when you die. It just doesn't give you the same satisfaction when you do like hit level 100, or when you do get to the end of the Atlas or whatever.
Of other random encounters you might run into as you play maps. One such encounter are precursor artifacts. These are ancient, corrupting monuments that irradiate the monsters around them. The monsters that feed off the corruption are drawn to their power. If you defeat the monsters and cleanse the artifact, you will get a powerful temporary buff. Some of the buffs make you faster, others rain lightning or fire around you, and some even give you increased experience or help you find better items. You can also find strong boxes. These enigmatic chests guard piles of treasure, but are always a trap. Monsters lie in wait to attack you the moment you open it, and the boxes often have mechanisms to unleash powerful spells or dangerous debuffs.
Detonates
There are different
nearby
types of strong
corpses.
boxes containing
Ow.
different items, and you can even use your currency
Damn.
items to craft them on the fly, so you can optimize the contents. But be careful of
Guarded by
opening one you
14
can't
packs of monsters? Damn.
Sometimes you'll discover monsters frozen in essences, solidified crystalline corruption. These dangerous monsters can be broken free. If you defeat them, the essence they drop can be used to upgrade normal items to magic items with a guaranteed mod from a category.
Oh, that's so cool.
For example, we could use this one on some boots to ensure a movement speed mod. Rarely, essences will also drop that allow you to upgrade magics to rares, adding the guaranteed mod.
Okay.
This is incredibly powerful since it allows you to get a second deterministic mod in your crafting projects. Combining these with the
Oh,
current
that is smart too, though, because that's gonna make crafting a lot more accessible for a lot bigger of a crowd than it is right now, because it is convoluted as fuck, brother. The crafting systems are really hard to figure out if you want to do true in-game crafting. It takes a lot of research to understand how to craft those weapons and things yourself. So I think this is a good choice.
that are commonly found in Rayclast for modifying items.
Oh, those boots are sick. What the fuck? Movement speed, life, mana, cold rest, lightning rest, stun threshold. That is cracked.
And
Damn.
we can get a very nice pair of boots indeed.
Damn.
Waystones, like all items, can also be crafted using your currency items. Adding prefix mods will improve the rewards, while suffix mods increase danger. The
Okay.
more dangerous a map is, the more waystones will drop. Adding mods to your waystones is key to progressing to higher tiers and sustaining them, but it will require-
Waystone drop chance plus 320%. What the fuck? Holy shit. We gotta expect them to put the waystones into the map tab, right? They said anything that would make sense would be used. Any of the map tabs, or not map tabs, what am I saying? Stats tabs that would make sense to be a PoE 2 thing would be in there. So I'm guessing this is our map stash tab. It has to be. There's no way it's not. I was talking with Knight about this yesterday, and it has to be.
You to take on larger challenges. There are a variety of factors you'll have to consider when crafting your waystones. Some maps will have higher density, some lower, some have more magic and rare chests, or monsters, some are more linear, and others more open. Make sure you explore and think about what makes certain maps good if you want to maximize your returns. As you cleanse corruption from higher and higher tiers of the Atlas, you will gain points that you can spend in the Atlas tree. This tree allows you to juice the danger and rewards of all areas in the endgame. You could increase the number of monsters, the number of rares, the number of precursor artifacts or strongboxes, even the quantity of item drops. As you explore the endgame world map, you'll notice various different biomes, from snow-capped mountains to dense jungle valleys. Most maps are restricted to certain biomes. As you continue to explore deeper into the Atlas, there are all sorts of things to discover. These cities are constructed by different peoples of Rayclast and have specific items that can be found there. These strange structures marked on the map don't appear to do anything for now. Perhaps you'll work out how to use them later. You might find unique maps like Untainted Paradise, an undisturbed island full of beasts that give an extreme amount of experience. You may even find a lonely man just enjoying his retirement who will give you a unique item for free. In addition, you can find special areas that would make a good spot to set up camp. Clear these areas of their hostile inhabitants, and you'll be able to claim them as your own hideout. You can decorate your hideout as you see fit, and invite various NPCs to join you there to create your own personal base of operations.
Hell yeah.
A great tool for exploration are towers. These mysterious precursor constructs are dotted around the Atlas. Completing the tower will reveal a large area around it, allowing you to scout out your next challenge. There are lots of things to find, so keep looking.
That reminds me a little bit of fucking Heroes of Might and Magic, bro. When you take the what's it called? The tall tree ones that you press those and they reveal the area you're in, and like nearby enemies and mines and all kinds of stuff that you can get. So that, bro, they took features from different games that were exceptionally well made and that people are really, really happy with, and they implemented it into PoE and made it their own thing. It's not like they copy pasted anything. They took an idea and then crafted it into their own narrative and made it fit into the game and the theme. That is brilliant.
Some sections of your Atlas are influenced by corruption. This adds extra modifiers to the maps in the region, increasing difficulty and rewards. Here, slaying monsters in close proximity to each other will cause the vestiges of corruption within them to merge together, forming powerful and grotesque abominations. You may have noticed while looking at the Atlas that some of the areas have these icons above them. The icon indicates that the area contains some kind of special...
Wait, 1 second. Let's 1 second. So we have what looks like not ritual, that would be expedition. That would be ritual. No, that would be expedition. And that would be ritual. So that would be what? Delirium. Right, delirium. That's what it looks like. And then you have breach. And then I guess, as he said, that was the boss icons. Do you have other icons? Not really, as far as I can see right now.
You may have noticed while looking at the Atlas that some of the areas have these icons above them. The icon indicates that the area contains some kind of special encounter. This icon indicates that the area has a powerful boss. Because only 1 in 4 maps contain a map boss, we are able to make them very powerful and very rewarding. These bosses come from the campaign, but have had their difficulty increased with changes to AI and some of their abilities. It's worth noting that because you can see where the bosses are, you can choose to take them on or avoid them. If you do choose to hunt bosses though, then you will be rewarded with special points for the boss hunting section of the Atlas skill tree. The points here will allow you to specialize in boss killing, giving you much greater rewards for defeating them. For each different type
Oh
of
my
content
God, I
in the
have-
endgame, we are
bro,
adding
that looked
specialized trees in
insane.
order to make it so you don't feel the need to respec your points when you change between different types of content. We will be showing you 7 of these by the end of this presentation, so there is still a lot more to come. Bosses are not
Okay.
the only icon you will see on the Atlas. Let's take a look at one of the in-game systems, Breach. If you played PoE 1, you might be familiar with Breach. For
I
PoE
like
2,
that. I like the fact that you want to specialize in a certain thing, you gotta play it. Instead of, right now, you don't... Like, when you're unlocking your Atlas in PoE 1, you can make an Atlas with breaches on, but you don't ever actually have to play a breach to... If you know what I mean. If they're making it so the way you level up your Atlas in the breach section is by doing breaches, that makes so much more sense to me.
we have created sequels to several PoE 1 leagues. While the mechanic is familiar, the monsters, bosses, rewards, and progression are all new. A breach is a tear in the fabric of reality. Opening it will allow you to see the demons and otherworldly monstrosities that lie in wait on this other plane of existence. By engaging with a breach,
looks like
you'll
my
create
eyes
a
know,
bridge
but
between their
the
world
way
and
their
Ravenloft.
skills work.
In order to keep the breach open, you will need to kill the demons that pour forth. The faster you can kill the monsters, the more monsters you will fight, and the more loot you will find. You can also find clasped hands that will open and drop more items if you run over them. These can be a good boost to the rewards of the breach, so keep an eye out. One of the rewards that you may find while fighting monsters from Breach are tablets. Tablets are special items that can be used with precursor towers to add more encounters to the Atlas. Breaches will
Okay.
drop breach tablets. Clicking on a completed tower will allow you to consume the tablet to add more breaches to areas within range of the tower. This makes all the content in the Atlas self-sustaining. Want to do more breaches? Find the tablets, add them to your towers, get more breaches, getting more tablets.
Right.
Soon your Atlas will be covered in otherworldly domains. In addition, like all items in PoE, you can craft them. Use your currency to add mods to your tablets, allowing you to upgrade all the breaches in range. Tablets can have up to 2 mods. These mods do things like adding extra rare monsters, extra clasped hands, or even monster density of breaches, allowing you to keep them open longer. Often, you will find multiple towers near to each other with overlapping areas of effect. This can allow you to really juice the mechanic by stacking the mods from multiple tablets. In your fight to hold the breach demon to each other
Damn,
with
bro.
overlapping areas of effect. This can allow you to really juice the mechanic by stacking the mods from multiple tablets.
I like that. Oh my god. It basically just... Holy shit. So all these towers has interconnected areas. That makes fucking total sense.
In your fight to hold the breach demons at bay, you may want to use the powers of their world against them. Each in-game mechanic always has player power that can only be gained from that mechanic, and Breach is no different. In Breach, you will find catalysts, items that can increase the quality of rings and amulets by improving specific mobs.
Okay.
You can also find Breach Rings, a special base type that can have its quality improved by catalysts up to 50%. In this case, you could create a ring with around 170 life. Breach Rings can become some of the strongest rings in the game, giving you some good motivation to face the demon hordes. In addition, each
Wow.
endgame mechanic needs to have a pinnacle endgame encounter. While killing Breach monsters, you may find Breach Splinters. Collect enough of these.
Okay, so each, and that's actually funny because I jumped into Steve's live stream the other day, or to Twister on Twitch, and I was talking with him about Delve and asking him if there is a, like, what's the specific Delve loot that is like worth a lot, or like, is there's like if we look at the heist mechanic, there is like a simplex amulet that's like basically specific to that mechanic itself. So I was asking him if there's like something specific to Delve, and I like the fact that there's items or power or something that's gainable with a specific mechanic, but you cannot gain that with other mechanics. So it forces you to basically, if you want to get one of these items, you either have to trade or you have to grind the mechanic. I really like that. That makes 100% sense that you have specialized items that are only attainable by this specific thing.
And you'll be able to create a breachstone. Using a Vaal technology called the Realm Gate, you can use your breachstone to access their domain and bring the fight to them. In this twisted domain, you will find nothing but a single massive breach. Triggering it will reveal hordes of breach inhabitants.
That's gotta be Flicker.
And should you be fast enough, you will be able to fight their leader, Zesht. We that are one.
We that dreamed. We in nightmare. We that are one.
Oh, that's the back attachment we got. Oh, hell yeah.
Fate realize
Ooh.
This is just one of the pinnacle encounters of PoE 2. We won't be showing the rest of them, so you will have to discover them for yourself. But rest assured, this is some of the hardest content we have ever made. All of these encounters have specific uniques that can only be found from them. But that's not all. We still have the progression system.
Whoa.
Defeating Zesht will give you points to allocate into the breach section of the Atlas tree. Allocating these points will make breaches and the breach domain even harder, but
Right.
will give you more rewards. The small
Hell
nodes
yeah.
will increase the difficulty of the twisted domain, while the large nodes have more specific bonuses. For example, this node adds more clasped hands to your breaches, and adds a pack of magic monsters that can guard them. Get some more points and you can allocate Waking Nightmare, which will double the number of splinters you get from clasped hands, and inflict you with a mysterious debuff. In order to earn more points, you will need to defeat Zesht at a higher difficulty, and some rewards from Zesht can only be found by increasing the difficulty of the Twisted Domain above certain thresholds.
Oh.
Defeating Zesht at difficulty 4 will be a challenge indeed, but there are many more threats in Rayclast.
Wow.
Ritual altars are sacrificial sites built by the mysterious King in the Mists. If you encounter this symbol on the Atlas, then you know that the area contains ritual altars. Ritual altars demand tribute. Every monster you slaughter in the circle will feed the altar. After the sacrifice, touch it to begin the ritual. The monsters you just killed will be resurrected by the King of the Mist's dark magic.
That the waves are the mechanic from the Pirate Lord, but this is blood waves instead. I like this, man. That is crazy. Within the ritual circle, so you have like a limited amount of space to move around in, and then you have area of denial with the waves. That's insane.
And you must fight to survive. The tribute you have offered to the altar can be spent to buy powerful items, but they can be expensive. To gain more tribute, you will want to find more altars. Each successive ritual you do within an area will spawn the monsters revived by the previous ones, in addition to the ones you sacrifice next to it. By the end of an area, you will be fighting a truly imposing number of foes, but will have a significant amount of tribute to spend. One of the rewards you can buy with tribute are omens. These are special items that allow for metacrafting. Crafting items that affect other crafting items. Have an item with good prefixes but bad suffixes? This omen will help you to remove the mod you don't want while keeping the ones you do. There are a bunch more of these with different effects, but we will leave them for you to discover. Now don't forget that Ritual will also drop tablets, which can be used to specialize into getting more rituals. If you want to get to the pinnacle boss of Ritual, then you will probably want to use them. They can also be crafted to grant mods, making your rituals more rewarding. The pinnacle encounter of Ritual is the King in the Mists. Feared by the Asmeri people, he is said to have brought eternal darkness to the Wildwood. We won't show the encounter, but just like Breach, there are a range of unique items you can get for defeating him, and you will gain points in the ritual section of the Atlas tree. Some maps have been touched by insanity. A mysterious entity has taken a special interest in
Another
you.
one of my
Step through the
favorites.
looking glass and you will find your nightmares coming to life. When you touch a mirror, the mists of delirium will spread out across the area, infecting your mind. You must stay within the mist to maintain the nightmare, which is as profitable as it is terrifying. Everything you kill will increase the rewards that drop. However, the deeper into the mist you travel, the stronger the monsters are.
That's
Be
our
careful
Mannering
not to
right there.
overstay
Oh
your
no,
welcome.
it's back.
Rare and unique enemies will become vessels for terrifying demons, who will manifest out of them to unleash powerful attacks on you. The mist also offers a strange crafting material, distilled emotions. By combining these emotions, you are able to instill your amulet with a notable from the passive skill tree. This is like gaining an extra passive point for free, attached
Like
to
the
your
oils
gear.
from Blight.
They are also particularly great because you don't have to traverse the tree to get them, allowing you to get off-class bonuses that would normally be much harder to get. Distilled emotions can also be used to instill your endgame maps, applying Delirious to them and adding additional difficulty and rewards, allowing you to further juice your endgame maps. The tablets you can find from Delirium can be used to further improve it, increase pack size, make the fog dissipate slower, or improve your progress towards the pinnacle encounter of Delirium. Speaking of which, every now and then you will find simulacrum splinters. The mysterious entity will create strange encounters based on warped versions of your own memories. Monsters and simulacrums come in waves that get progressively more difficult. You will receive loot at the end of each wave, and you will have to make the decision to leave now or continue on, facing up against even tougher foes from the mist. The bosses you will face as you get deeper into a simulacrum are truly terrifying. If you can complete a simulacrum, you will gain points for the delirium.
I think it's very smart that they took these mechanics that already existed, expanded on them, and made them better and more custom and more themed around what it is. That is, I think this is a really good choice.
Section of the Atlas skill tree. Next up, we have Expedition.
Another one of my favorites.
Occasionally, while clearing corruption, you will encounter these Kalguran settlers. The Kalgurans have discovered ancient burial sites with lost Verisium artifacts, and they want you to help dig them up with explosives. The Kalgurans have marked the locations where the relics can be found. Place explosives as best you can to dig up as many as possible. There is just one problem. Corruption has brought the corpses of their ancestors to life, so you might have to do a little cleanup before you can reclaim the artifacts. You can also find remnants, the destruction of which will further anger the restless dead. Each one you blow up will make the subsequent monsters more powerful, but also more rewarding. Danig, Rog, Tujin, and Gwenin will exchange the artifacts for useful items and runic magic. You can also find tablets to increase the number of...
That's the thing, right? Don't fix something that isn't broken, right? Like, when the mechanics work phenomenal, why the fuck would you, like... why would you change them and then make them worse, right? Or, like, put in new mechanics that doesn't work as well. That it's so much more than putting in stuff that works on day one and then expanding on stuff as the seasons come with new stuff that hasn't been seen before, instead of putting a bunch of new stuff in that nobody likes. Putting in stuff that people that you already know people are fans of is a smart choice, in my opinion, because it gives a potential for a real end game grind, and it allows us to customize and create stuff that are unique, right? I really think it's a good choice. Instead of having no end game, this is a way better idea, even though they're basically kind of stealing ideas from PoE 1 and then expanding on them and making them better. I don't mind that if it's made great. The problem becomes when you make it bad, right? So the fact that you have rifts in Diablo 3 and it's the only thing, and there's only 5 different scenarios that can happen in the end, it makes for a very boring situation. This feels like it has a lot more potential when you get to the end game. There's a lot more different experiences, and there's a lot of different possibilities to try things that you haven't necessarily seen before. So I really like this.
Expeditions and the rewards.
It also gives us a little bit
This
of
one increases the
nostalgic.
radius of explosives. while this one increases the number of remnants you will find. Eventually, you might discover a logbook. These are special maps full of buried treasure and relics.
Hell yeah.
Essentially one giant dig site.
Oh.
Here you can create an extremely long chain of explosives and go through a very high number of remnants. But be careful, many remnants have mods that can really brick your build, so you will probably want to avoid these ones. If you add too many remnants, you could easily make the encounter harder than you can handle. There are all sorts of interesting things buried under the ground in logbooks. You might find dripping caves and hidden pirate caches, but the most powerful encounter is Olroth, the ancient undead commander of the Knights of the Sun. Defeating him will grant you unique rewards, as well as points to spend in the expedition section of the Atlas tree. So those are the in-game systems on the Atlas, but we are not done yet. The trials we talked about earlier have much more content when you get to endgame too. Just like the other endgame systems, they also have progression mechanics, unique rewards, and player power that can only be gained from them.
Alright, so we'll call it right here. We'll check the end game out in the next one, and I can't wait to see this. Holy fuck, man. I can't wait to see all this stuff in action and actually feel it out, how it feels, and if it's as good as it looks, because it looks absolutely incredible. It's one of those things that has put my hype from a 50 out of 100 to a 90 out of 100, basically. So I am super hyped for this now. I am really, 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 really ready to just put my fingers on the keyboard and test this stuff out. But yeah, leave a like, comment, and subscribe if you want to follow along on the journey going through PoE 2. Catch me on YouTube or on Twitch. Twitch is Tuesdays and YouTube is Thursdays. That's a guarantee. And then of course we'll stream other days as well. I just can't exactly say at what time and whatnot, because I do have other things I have to take care of in real life. So whenever there's time, besides a Tuesday or a Thursday, I'll of course jump on and we'll catch each other there. But yeah, I will catch you all in their next one.